All right, welcome back to the channel. Starting to get cold here, so we got us a fire built out here in the barn. We got it warming up. We've done a few things since the last time. We got the forest out of here. We got it outside. Still working out some bugs. That's where we're at with it. I'm frustrated with it a little bit, but we have moved the Brown Ranger. Brown Ranger up front here, big. You notice we got flags now. If you're interested in a flag, hit us up. Let us know. We got our seats in, which I was pretty excited about. Maybe a little premature, but I got them. I can build my seat bracket frame. They're a good looking seat. There'll be a link for those on our webpage or on our store. You can check them out, but they're nice. Yeah, they're pretty nice. Let's turn around the light. That'll probably help you out. I ain't taking it out of the plastic yet, but they look like a good looking seat. I like them. I like the color. They're going to match the brown hue that I have on this rig. Tie bar in for the cage, and I went all the way through from one side to the other for harness bar. We got our battery tray kind of started back here. Probably can't see it without light. Okay, so starting with that seat bracket, that back bar, I'm going to start with that back bar. I want the seats to come up about 2.5 to 3 inches because they sit so low. So I took that tube that was laying on the bed, on the cab there, and what I then did, I took some old, I like to use shit I have, so some angle iron that is I think it's 1 by 2, something like that. I cut these down to 2 inches. I punched a hole in it. I should probably put it in the camera, not the screen. I punched a hole in it. I'm going to mount these to the floor. I'm going to run that bar, and I might take and crest this out a little bit right here. Probably can't see it because I'm not paying attention. I'm looking at what I'm doing. And I'm going to notch this out to where that tube sits in there, I think, or butt it up. I haven't quite made up my mind yet, but it depends on what I can do to achieve my height. So started out by cutting these on the bandsaw, drilling holes. So what I'm doing now is I've tacked this into place. It's real crude right now, but I've got the two angle pieces going down. I'm using the seatbelt hole back here because if it'll hold the seatbelt, it's going to hold this down. So I just use that. I tack that piece around on there like such. I'm going to take a piece of this flat bar that's 3/16, whatever the hell thickness it is. I don't know. I got it. And what my plan is to take it. I'm going to use the original seatbelt holes up front on all 4 sides here and here. So I'll put it on the press. I'm going to bend this angle, but first I want to drill my holes. I like to drill my holes first while I will be able to bolt that in, then figure out my angle. Where am I at here? I can't even tell. You see me here? Stupid. Alright. I will get my holes drilled first on the end so that I can bolt it down here and here. And then I can find my angle coming across to tack to this back brace bar here. Once I get that done, I'll probably put a tie bar in between the two using this flat bar that I have. Looking at the seat, I have between my mounting bolt hole here, on my seat bracket, I got to pull that off. I will pull that off there. I will set it on top of that and see where I got to put tabs, cross braces coming out here to then tie those in, and it should be pretty easy. No sense in overcomplicating this. Just mount the damn seats into the truck so that it holds your butt down. So next move, drill holes. Okay, so I got 2 of them made, or 2 of them drilled. I saved you the trouble and the heartache of watching me push a drill bit through a piece of metal, but let's take them to the truck and get them bolted down and see what kind of angles we need. Okay, so now I have these 2 bolted down, this one and this one. What I'm going to do is get my angle finder, and I'm going to find out what angle I need to get this to come back and tie into this back bar, which is off screen right now. So bolt those down, we'll square them up. That's also going to help me get a distance between that I need on these 2 pieces of flat stock. Alright, so I went over and I bent it. I got it pretty close. It might be a hair overextended, but I have to cut my excess off in the back here. And that. Where'd it go? Okay, so I'm going to cut it off back here. I've marked it. I'm going to cut it off real quick with the bandsaw. Bend the other one while this one's cutting, and we'll get it up in here and place it. But you can start to see it coming together. All right, that one just got finished getting cut. We got this one bent. What we're going to do is stick that up in there like such. Get it real close, and we're going to mark it and go put it on the bandsaw and cut it. Get the Sharpie. You got to get our marker stick thingy. Okay, so I've done a few things. I've been off camera for a few minutes here, so I've done a couple things. One, I said don't overcomplicate it. Well, what I do, I'm going to overcomplicate it because I put the seat in there and it sits too low for my personal preference. I want to be up. I like to be able to see over the front. So in the front, I'm going to raise it about 1.5 inches. In the back, about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. I think I've 3/4 inches. What I've done is I've taken and I've cut couple pieces of square, 45 the inch or whatever degree it would happen to be set at, so that I can get in there and get a nut and a bolt and clamp this in. Now, let me show you what we're doing with it. So, we're going to go over here to the truck. I've done about 15 things since I've last on here, but none of it was on this. So we've got a lot of rain, and I have one of my culverts is plugged, so I had to go out there and water in it. Made a heck of a hole, but I still haven't got it clear. So, but I got tired. It was cold. The water's deep, and it's up past my elbow, and it's cold. So I had to come back in and warm my arms up. So anyway, so what we're doing is we're going to take these. Let me get you situated. Camera. Okay, so I made two different sizes. I made a longer one and a short one. The shorter one's going to go on the inside here. Okay, and let me get you doctored up to where you can see. So, the shorter one's going to go in here, and I got a mark here, and I got to slide it. But I'm going to weld this on, like such. I'm going to stitch weld this on around there onto the bottom piece. That's going to lift this front end up and cause my seat to tilt back. Then I have access to the bolt right here. I thought about welding a nut on there, but I think I can get a nut in there once the seat's on and tighten it up. The other one is about 1.5 inches longer. There you go, 1.5 inches longer, and it goes to the outside. And these are just the front. I'm going to do the same thing using smaller stock in the back. Let's see if we're in the camera. Okay. So the same thing. I'm going to stitch this on there like such. That's going to give me access. I still got to figure out exactly where this one sits. I know that one's good. This one I cut long, and I think it's actually just a hair long. But once I get this inside set, because I've been worried about this hump. So there's a hump right here. So this hump on this side jets out a little bit, and this is my issue that I had when I did Forest. When I did it, I was pushed up against this, and it was a pain in the ass. Could I take a hammer to it? Yeah, not gonna. So this one is gonna go here like that. We'll get the other one back here on the back lined up with it once I get those cut. These two go to this side, and you can see that I have been cutting 4 of everything, so that when I go to do the other side, I already have everything doctored up. I've also cut a couple pieces of channel for back here, because I'm going to put these. I'm going to put these in here like such, and catch these 2 holes here and here to help support the center so that it's not, and I got 2 more supports. So I've been doing a bunch of stuff. So then this one there. So that's kind of where we're at. So we got to get this one set where we want it, and I got to cut the back one. So let's cut the back ones and get all our pieces cut and ready to go so we can set the seat in here. Alright, didn't turn the camera on. So this is day 2. We are back. It's the new morning and we are back out here working on our seat bracket. So alright, so we cut these flat bars. I originally, if I remember, I had made these because they were about 3/4 of an inch thick for back here tabs. I decided to use a piece of flat bar so that it gave me just a little bit more tilt back with my seat. I want to tilt just a little bit. There's not a whole lot of adjustment except for recline on my seats that I picked. This here, I wish I would have had a piece long enough to go across all the way. That would have been way easier. However, I don't, so I use scrap because I had enough to make 4 of those brackets, 2 over there, 2 over here, and then I'm just going to put a piece of flat bar probably up here, tie it here or here. I haven't made up my mind which, but that's where we're at. We got shit tacked. Yeah, I know how to use a clamp. So those are tacked. We're going to let that cool down, and we're going to bolt the seat in and see how it fits. So we should be pretty good. So get a little pull numbers squared. So as I'm working on these seat brackets, mounts, whatever, for the floor in the cab there, I'm learning that I have a fear of commitment. What material I want to commit to something, I think takes me more time than actually building it sometimes, trying to go through all the little pieces and scrap and stuff like that I have. I'd be way better off if I just had an endless supply of material. I don't have that. So it takes me a few minutes to kind of look at what I got, to see what I have, what I want to use, what I don't, and it takes up a lot of my time out here in the barn. So in doing that, I've learned that I have a real fear of commitment. I'm like, okay, can I use that for this? Can I use it for something better farther down the line? But the fact is, I have it. I need it right now. So I just have to pull the trigger and do it. So I'm learning that, yeah, it's difficult to commit a piece of material when I've got so many different ideas going around in my head of where I could use it, the potential it could have, am I wasting it, all that stuff. But the fact is, I got to use it to get this project done so I can move to the next. So I wonder, did anybody else have that problem when they're looking at stuff going, man, I could use it for this, but man, it'd be cool for this. And yeah, fear of commitment, I guess, when it comes to my material, because I don't have an endless surplus. I just, I got pieces that I pick up, scrap. I go buy shit once in a while. I don't throw nothing away. I mean, I got buckets. I got buckets full of little pieces down here. This is a tire iron that's round stock that I could use for something somewhere, I think. These are all little ends. I mean, really, what am I going to use that for? I don't know, but I'll find something. This, I can think of a couple little things, but that's 3 inches long. I mean, come on, your pecker's longer than that. So, but yet, I have trouble going, bam, and it takes me so much time. Meanwhile, while I'm doing this, I'm thinking, God, I should be working on this over here, but I don't know. I guess I have ADD. I don't know. Growing up in the 70s and 80s does that to a guy. So, all right, we're going to keep going on this. We're going to cut some more. I'm going to cut some more flat bar, put that in, and I came up with a better way of doing my front elevated purchase, so it's a little bit more accurate because I had to go back and adjust it a few times. So I'll show you that here in just a minute. So while my bandsaw's making a bunch of racket in the back, what I've come up with to make this a lot easier on me, so I'm going to take a piece of angle iron here, this little piece of angle iron I got. I'm going to set my distance here. I'm going to weld the straps that I'm cutting, because again, this is just scrap material. It was a little chunk I had. I didn't have enough to do the whole thing. If I did, it would be a lot easier. I could have just cut my 2 pieces, welded it. It would have been a solid piece all the way across. I didn't have enough for that. I was about 6-8 inches too short. Go figure. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this up against here. Once that's done cutting, I'll set my measurements for my bolt holes here. I'm going to weld that strap across there to hold it in place, which I plan on doing anyway. I'm just going to do it first before I put in. So, alright, getting there. One more. So that's what we're doing now. Once we have that put together, we'll weld them in. And we're getting really close to having these seats taken care of. So, but again, I don't throw nothing away. So here we are. Keep moving on. Shit. We can afford to throw anything away this day and age. Okay. We got her doctored up. So this is what I came up with. Is it perfect? Is it the best? Could it be done better? Absolutely. But is this what I did? Absolutely. So again, yeah, I used a bunch of scrap shit I had. I mean, I have a bunch of these laying around, so I used those. This is going to tilt my seat backwards. If you look here, I'm going to have a little bit of a recline there. Yeah, I think this is going to work out just fine for my purposes. It's not like I'm running the Baja or anything else. I'm going to beat the shit out of this truck, but I think that'll hold my butt down using the stock bolt holes here, stock bolt holes there. So yeah, so here we go. So we'll let this cool off. I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to weld everything up real good. Let her cool. We're going to put a coat of paint on it. Alright, so we have it welded up, cleaned up, and we're getting ready to put a little coat of paint on it, but this is what we came up with. Is it perfect? Yeah, it is. It's absolutely perfect without any flaws whatsoever. Oh, Charlotte. Okay, so here it is, getting a coat of paint on it. We're going to let that set up for a little bit. We're going to mount it back in there. So while the paint's been drying, I've been thinking about one of my next moves, and that's seatbelt harness brackets on my bar going across the back. I got a couple pieces of scrap, go figure, that I'm going to cut into, and I'll show you how we're doing that. Let me get these cut on the bandsaw, and I'll show you what my plan of attack is. Playing with it. It's got the angle. This is the extra piece, and you can see the line there. I will cut this off nice and flat. I will have this, which will give me a nice surface for putting the weld around on my bar that's going across for my harnesses. I'll punch a hole in it. I'll probably weld a nut on the back side or on the inside, because I believe I'm going to put them where they face the seat like such. Okay, so as you can see, I had to take hardly any material off that to get it to actually sit on there. I mean, maybe just a hair more is what we'll take off. Put it on the right way, but seriously, just a little bit, a couple seconds with my 4-inch angle grinder, and those are going to sit on there nice. This one needs to be taken down just a hair more, and I'm just going to keep working all 4 of these until they fit to my liking, and then I'm going to take a little buff wheel that I have to them and clean them up so that I get rid of all these little burrs and sharp points and stuff. I might knock these corners down because I don't want sharp corners and points and stuff crawling in and out. But this should be just about ready to weld on. So that's it for today. We're going to plug away on some other stuff. Be a different video, but while I was working on my seat bracket to mount to the cab of the truck, I was building these while other stuff was drying. Paint was drying. I was cutting all that. Probably took me less, without filming them, probably took me less than an hour to cut these out. We're going to mount these once I have the harnesses in, but I have them ready to go. Point is, you can use scrap to do all kinds of shit. Those probably cost 20 bucks a set, maybe 40. I don't know what they cost. I never looked them up. Never bought any. But I saved myself 20 bucks. These are going to be perfectly fine once I weld them into my crossbar for my harnesses. So, yeah, there it is. Like, subscribe, check out our page, Facebook, TikTok, all that good shit. We got t-shirts. We got a small handful of flags that Jess was nice enough to have made for me. He thought it was pretty cool. They're monster flags. We get a kick out of them. We got one hanging up. So, Muddy Boots Off-Road. I only got a handful. So, I don't know if you're interested in one. Let me know. They're great. Putting on your barn, flying behind your truck.